Welcome back to Batman Arkham Origins. So now that we've gotten the hacking done, we can use the Gotham database to solve crimes and stuff.
Pretty
Cool.
much what we've already been doing.
Yep. Gonna go visit the Ninja Turtles. Be right back.
So,
This is where my parents died, Raphael.
You say that every single time we're here, Batman.
so I just mentioned how I needed to see the Death Note Netflix show now that I'm actually subscribed to Netflix again, and you just said we hacked into the police database, and my mind immediately jumped to Light Yagami because he did that himself. Well, he didn't really hack into it so much as coincidentally living in the same house as the police guy, who who had a computer and kept some stuff at home for some bizarre reason.
Wait a minute, they actually do have ninjas living in the sewers. Huh.
See, the Batman Ninja Turtles crossover made perfect sense.
I mean,
Middle-aged armored ninja henchmen.
That was
This is the area to introduce the martial artists, though, I believe.
Yes, because they got a
And
special
I,
cutscene, which means that's when they came in.
Yeah.
that was such a good crossover comic. It's not even funny. Like everything about it just hits the right notes for me. The art style, the story, the writing, the humor.
It's just such a bizarre ass combination, you know.
Yeah, the animated movie's also rather good.
I've seen bits and pieces of the animated movie. I'm interested in watching it, but at the same time, it does seem like a step down in some areas from the comic.
It reads better as a book.
Yeah,
As someone who's seen both, I think it does better as a comic book than it does an animated movie.
yeah.
Why do you say that?
Well, one thing, I like the art style in the comic book more
Okay.
than the animated direction.
Yeah, it's
And
it's interesting because DC's animated movies, their animated comic book adaptation movies specifically, tends to sort of imitate the art style of the comic they're based on. It's part of the reason, and they usually do it poorly. Excuse me. Sorry, I had to mute my mic and cough. Anyway,
sorry, there was an ninja in the
they
room.
usually do it poorly. For example, like The Killing Joke.
Oh, Killing Joke translated awfully as an animation.
That movie is like everything about the comic except with less detail. You know, the same angles,
Yeah.
but less stuff going on in the background, that kind of stuff. It's kind of lame. Part of the
Batman,
reason.
do you really need to explode the plywood? You couldn't just
Yes.
punch it?
I spent money on this bat foam technology. I'm going to use it.
But you know, the part of the reason I like Batman and Harley Quinn so much is that instead of imitating some comic book arc, it returned to like the Timverse animation style, which actually worked on its own as a self-sufficient animation style.
That's what they really should be just be doing at this point.
Well, not necessarily imitating the Timverse stuff for everything, because that visual tone doesn't work for every kind of story. But, you know,
Well, you see, what you just said there is kind of the reason why I had a problem with them using the Timverse style for that movie. You know, I don't know. It's a little weird. Like,
Is
Well,
that the one
it's,
where Harley
be-
Quinn straps Robin to a bed and
yes,
has sex with
Nightwing.
him?
yes,
Okay.
it's played
Yeah.
it's played as a joke though. The punchline is Batman gets really pissed off at him when he finds him because Nightwing went off the radar for a bit, and Batman thought he was coming to his rescue, but he walks in on them tickling each other, and Batman's just looking at Nightwing, and Nightwing just hangs his head. But as soon as Batman turns his head, turns his back, Nightwing's like, "Yeah, like you haven't slept with a supervillain."
it's not so much that I find it bad. It's more jarring because that movie is an adult
Yes,
cartoon.
it is, and
Like it is not teenage driven. It is an adult cartoon. Like, and it's like to see them deal with those kind of themes and to see like really like explicit violence used in that style, I thought was really
I
jarring.
didn't think it was that
Like, it was-
jarring,
it was
but I get
distracting.
where you're coming from. The thing, though, is that there was already quite a bit of stuff in that style to begin with between the previous shows that touched on that kind of stuff, just not
Right.
being as explicit about it. And it was always it was always the case where they would get more explicit and more mature about things when they were doing movies.
You see, I think that because they were they had to restrain themselves because it was network television. They had to find a little more creativity in how they can
Oh
handle
yeah,
those themes
and
without being so
in
explicit.
some instances it worked fine, in others that I don't think that's inherently a reason to say the South should never do that at all.
yeah,
Right.
But you know, it's something. It's something that takes getting used to while you're watching the movie, and if I were to name an actual complaint with Batman and Harley Quinn, is that some of the humor is a bit too blatant, when it could have actually benefited from being a bit more restrained in places. And I realize that's weird to say about Harley Quinn, but, you know, you know what I mean.
I feel like restraint is something that a lot of, especially adult stuff could work, because I think
Yeah.
we brought this up. We've definitely brought this up before, but that was, I forget what commentary it was, and it was probably years ago. But you don't have to swear like every 5 seconds if you're a mature thing, and it's something I've been trying to work on myself.
Oh,
Is like, okay, you
yeah.
don't have to drop an F-bomb every 5 seconds to be funny.
This is
know?
this is a weird thing to bring up in this context, but Bill Nye Saves the World. Very, very occasionally, Bill Nye just drops a swear word or something, and it happens so occasionally that when it happens, it catches you off guard and is like 10 times funnier than it would have been otherwise.
That also runs the risk of it being super distracting, which what kind of pisses me off when he's trying to convey a message and people just ignore it because, oh my God, Bill Nye said fuck. You
Yeah.
know, I remember that one time
on
he
John
was in
Oliver? Yeah.
the John Oliver
I
skit.
mean, at
yeah,
the
when he
same
was talking
time, the
about-
whole point is that he'd been saying this for like 15 years and nobody's listening to him. So I
yeah,
think
so yeah, I get
What
it.
is
Like, but
with
the
that
swear is used
camera angle?
the swear is used to accentuate that
I mean,
anger.
I'll give,
but it's like like everyone didn't pay attention to it because he
I'm
said
sorry.
fuck.
One moment, that camera angle pisses me off because like you're still in control of your character, but it looks like a cutscene. So I saw you for like a moment let go of the button, and Batman pulled his feet back. But then you're like, oh shit, I need to hold the button. so you saved yourself.
it actually reminded me a lot of like a Resident Evil or Devil May Cry 1 kind of thing where you're holding the direction and then suddenly you're on a completely different camera angle and it's like,
Well, you wouldn't have to worry about the direction because the glide kick lock-on would have held you in the same direction. But you do need to hold the glide kick button for the glide kick to keep being a kick when you land. Oh, wait. This is... I remember this area. Sort of. It's like...
That's where we punch bad guys, right?
I'm pretty sure that some of these assets are from Arkham Asylum's, like, underground section.
probably, yes.
The Wonder Tower stuff.
Oh, Wonder Tower stuff?
No, the sewer stuff in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
show me a game that doesn't reuse assets, and you'll be showing me that studio's
Oh,
first game.
yeah,
So-
games reuse assets and animations all the time. Like, if you play, like, any one of the Resident Evil games after Remake 1 and 0, they basically all use the same animations until, like, Remake 2
Oh my God,
and
yeah.
Resi 7. But, like, the animations the characters use for walking around and holding up their gun and aiming is all the same from Remake all the way up to Resi 6.
Yeah,
Well-
none of that's not necessarily a bad thing, you
Oh,
know, if it's
actually, I think 6
especially
might
if
have
it's
redone it, but...
if it's not distracting, and for some things having similar or the same animations is important for helping games in a series feel cohesive.
Yeah. At the same
There's-
time, though, like, different characters will carry themselves differently, so it is important to have some variation in minor animations. Resident Evil's concession to this is to have 2 generic holding your gun animations. One where you're holding your gun up, one where you're holding it down. And they give that to characters based on, like, how they're supposed to carry themselves in general, you know?
Which is why, like, Resident Evil 2 originally was a caliber above the rest because they gave Leon a pose where he holds his gun sideways when he's wearing a certain costume.
Why you gotta hold it like that, Leon? It just looks so cool.
Well, the thing is, at that point, they didn't actually give anyone, like, a proper "I'm holding my gun as I walk" animation. Everyone just held their handgun off to the side, or their shotgun. Like, I think the only time they had a unique holding the gun animation for while they were running was when they had, like, a big ass 2-handed weapon. But
In the remake for Resident Evil 2, it was only like a specific gun where you held it gangsta style, right?
no, it wasn't a specific gun. It was a specific costume that Leon had that you
Oh,
can unlock with the
okay.
key.
Oh, okay. I
yeah.
thought that For some reason, I remember you having that in the normal costume,
There is a specific gun that Claire gets with her costume that has its own stance. It's the Colt Single Action Army, because that's a 6-shooter, and she fires it by fanning the hammer.
The greatest handgun ever made.
Yeah. She
Feels
fires it by
pretty
fanning the
good.
hammer, and both of those, in some form or fashion, made it into the remake, without their associated costumes, unfortunately.
Who's the pinup character there wearing the sexy Santa outfit?
Alfred.
Oh, okay.
I'll
He
never-
could rock it, I think.
I'll never understand sexy Santa outfits. Like, when you think Santa Claus, do you think sexy? I don't.
I mean,
I don't know. Santa's mighty thick.
and also he's loaded. All right, he's gonna treat you nice every year.
Oh, God. Yeah, he's a
Unless
little
if you've
Charlie
been on
and
the
Murph.
naughty list, if you know what I mean.
So he's the old fat rich guy? Is that the fetish we're going with
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
I mean,
but he's actually quite wholesome. It's just that he just happens to be a big slob.
I forget what it was. This might be something I'm pulling out of my ass, but like I'm 90% sure that there was
Well,
some.
don't say that so close to Santa.
There's some sort of survey at one point where like wealth was considered one of the most attractive things for a woman to see in a man or something like that. So like I could see plenty of people wanting Santa to treat them. Right.
If I were like raised in a society where I was expected to get married and couldn't really get a career going, yeah, I think wealth would be pretty attractive to me too. I'm just saying.
I mean, also you get your own private place in an exotic location. All right, an entire race of people to serve you. At
Your neighbor is Superman.
The joke is on you because we actually killed Santa Claus 3 years ago when his ice sheet melted. I'm sorry.
Thought I heard a
I
scream.
had to go.
Oh man, you see a bunch of elves on the streets holding signs saying "We'll make toys for food."
No, they hold signs saying we'll sit on your shelf.
Oh,
For
No,
food.
they all just applied
Oh.
for work at Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
oh man!
Oh.
From one slave labor
I'm
to another.
digging this continuity where Oompa Loompas are just stray Santa elves.
Yeah. And because they're not in the North Pole anymore, they actually get sunlight, so they have a tan. That's why
Right,
they're orange.
and they get tan. They become orange. Yeah, exactly.
Have you actually like seen the Oompa Loompa information from the book?
I haven't read
No.
the book since I was like 6 years old.
I don't remember the specifics, but apparently he shipped them in from a foreign country in crates or something. It's like
So that he didn't have to pay their immigration costs. Willy Wonka's an asshole. Oh man.
it's pretty shady, and this is a children's book. Like, what the hell, man? Children's books in the past were badass.
Oh no, I think it was that's just Roald Dahl being incredibly Roald Dahl, I suppose.
Yeah, probably. Very much so.
Oh man, who is this mysterious Joker character? Oh, I don't know who he could be. Wow.
He's part of the Phantom Thieves of
Oh
Hearts.
God, we've literally been hijacked by Joker.
Yes.
Well,
Poor
more like we hijacked something to learn about Joker.
No, it's like the
Stan
bad
said.
guy that we've been building up to this whole time was kidnapped by the Joker. This is a hijacked by Ganon scenario in its purest form.
Yep.
Poor Batman. Robin gets to be in Smash Brothers. Joker gets to be in Smash Brothers. Not Batman. Nope.
Not even
No,
a
no.
me costume.
If it's gonna be a Batman in Smash, it has to be Ninja Baseball Batman.
Oh, hi, just random fucking Mad Hatter side quest.
The
Yeah.
fuck? Okay. So, the Mad Hatter. What's his thing again? I remember him being in the
He
animated
mind
series,
controls
but-
people.
Oh, I know he mind controls people. I know that's his power-ish. But what's his thing? What's his complex? His psychological fuckery? Because that was a thing with a lot of Batman villains.
Do you think he's
Mad
the Mad
Hatter.
Hatter from Alice in Wonderland?
I mean, like, how did he come to that conclusion? What happened to
He's a short, ugly guy who got made fun of a lot.
Oh. Okay, I'm failing.
That I think always had a fascination with
Alice
Alice
in
in Wonderland.
yeah.
Oh, so he's like that dork who plays Vampire the Masquerade tabletop and then tries to be an actual vampire. Only he's a lot more deadly.
Don't project, Lewis.
Hey, I have never played Vampire the Masquerade tabletop, okay? I wish I could say I had, but, I have no friends.
When LARPing goes too far.
That's depressing as fuck.
Okay,
right?
the Vampire the Masquerade thing I just brought up is a thing that they actually got that has actually happened to such a degree that in like the anniversary version of the rulebook that I have like back behind me on a table somewhere has a notice in like really condescending wording that reminding the reader that this is a fantasy game, so don't go out pretending to be a vampire because you're not stupid. Okay.
that was actually really fucking intense.